Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at set number 76303, the Batman, Tumbler vs. Two-Face, and the Joker with 429 pieces. This set is 8+, and it comes with Batman, the Joker, and Two-Face. Here's a look at the box art. It looks very nice. Here's a look at the side box art and the back box art. And on the back of the box, you can find the bat signal, which oddly enough is not included on the front of the box. Here's a look at the top of the box with Two-Face. Now let's take a look at the figures. First up is Batman. This figure is based off the Dark Knight Batman and has very nice torso printing. You can see he's using the new helmet piece. And he has the rubber cape. He has a batarang included as accessory. And you can see the helmet piece, which you can take off and you can find the Bruce Wayne face. Now the helmet piece is the same as it was from when it was introduced in 2023. And a problem with this figure is that when you put it on the back, you can see a gap, you can see his skin. Next up, we have the Joker. And this figure is exclusive in the sense that it has purple legs instead of printed legs. And the face print looks very, very nice. Going down the torso print, which looks fantastic. And you can see there's just plain purple legs. His accessory is a money piece, a $100 bill. Here's a look at the back of the figure, which is some nice printing. Here's a look at his secondary head expression. And you can see with the hairpiece. This figure is great and captures the Joker from the Dark Knight very well. Next up is Two-Face, and this is a all-new exclusive figure. I am a big fan of this figure. I think his hairpiece looks very, very nice, the one they created for this figure specifically. He has some very nice torso printing, a black arm, and some gray legs, which could have been, he could have had one black and one gray. I don't know why they did that. It throws the whole figure off. Not sure why they did it. His accessory is a scratched up coin, and this looks great. This is an all-new print. Here's a look at the side of his face, and you can see there is a gap in the printing, and that's because it's impossible to print there. Here's a look at the back of the figure, and he looks very nice. I am a big fan of the way that the jacket looks and how it is half black and half gray. Here's a look at the back of the head, and you can see, I'm not sure why they have back head printing when you can't really see it. The first build we're going to take a look at is the bat signal, and this is probably my favorite bat signal they've ever made. Surprisingly, the dish here is not glow-in-the-dark, which is a disappointment. You can see this lever is changeable, so you can move it up and down. You can also turn the bat signal around and move it back and forth, which is very nice that you have a lot of range of articulation here. It is just very nice how you can move it side to side and up and down. Looks great. Here's a look at the buttons and a special look at the dish up close. Here you can see how that looks. It looks very nice. And you can see how that is just attached. Now here's a look at the tumbler, which I am a big fan of. I think it's just packed with detail, even though it is a smaller vehicle here. But I think they just accomplished everything you need in a tumbler. Here's a look at the front of the vehicle, which looks very nice. And you can see that you can rotate all these flaps down, which is interesting. I'm glad he can do it. I'm not sure it is meant to. It's just how you build it. But you can see you can put these down if you want. However, I do wish that the front window piece was bigger because you can see how that gap is really small. And, Batman can barely even see at that. And here is a look at the side of the vehicle, which, again, looks very nice. And you can see the wheels here, which are just really, really small compared to the other one. And you can see here there are some stud shooters, which you can shoot. I kind of do like how they are in the back instead of the front. And you can move these panels up and down. And, man, these tires are they're so small. I mean, look at them. I will compare them later. Here's the flame piece, and unfortunately, it is not spinnable like the other Batmobiles. And here is a look at the top of the vehicle. You can see there is some nice detailing. I really do like how there is barely any stud showing. I guess some may not like that, but it just makes it look very much like the Tumbler. You can see there is some gold detailing there that are meant to connect to the wheels. So you can see how the front of this is just very, very, very detailed. And, of course, you can open this up to access the interior. And this is definitely the weakest part of the set. It is a terrible, terrible interior. It is just, off-centered so it can line up with the window, which looks terrible. Of course, there is a place to put your batarang, which is a nice inclusion, but it's just such a small interior. It's just terrible. You can barely even fit Batman in there. Here's a look at that. And it is a really tight fit, especially with that rubber cape piece. Here's a look at that, and it is just, I mean, it's terrible. It's just a very, very bad cockpit. Everything else about this build I do like, however. You can see there is some nice driving functionality, and it does move back and forth very smooth. And I do like how it is in scale with the Batman figure. This is closer to minifigure scale than I believe the 2021 Tumbler is, and here's a look at that comparison. And people's main complaint with this set is how it's just a downscale, and it is more expensive, but I do think that this scale matches nicer. But the wheels, I do wish they could have included the wheels with this one. They're just very, very small and don't match with the Tumbler aesthetic. But I do think that the new size for the Tumbler is better. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. For $60, for 429 pieces, is a wild price. Definitely a lot worse than the old price when you are getting more pieces in that old Tumbler set for only $40. However, you are getting 3 very nice figures, but that is just not match for the very small vehicle you're getting. Of course, you are getting 429 pieces, and to some, that is not the worst price ever, but when you see how small the vehicle is, it's just crazy, especially when you compare it to the $40 set with more pieces and a bigger build, and it was $40. And LEGO's been doing this a lot with the recent sets, especially in Star Wars. Alright everyone, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.